Hello and welcome to the latest Business of the Business podcast. I am your co-host, JP John Potts, the two-man power trip. Of course, joining me, the star of this show, the doctor himself, Mr. Lavie Margolin. Lavie, how you doing today, sir?
Thank you, John. It's a two man team. We
Yes,
don't want to
yes.
take the well-branded two-man power trip, but love the the collaboration and to learn from you. And at the moment, literally as we're recording this, I'm looking at the TNA Wrestling Final Resolution Ticketmaster page in El Paso, and the little dial is turning. I'm curious to see if it's an open ticket map. So if we can get that for you today, we'll talk about that too.
Now let's start off with TNA. Since you mentioned it, let's start off with Bound for Glory. What was the official attendance? I know we said we're going to check WrestleTix for the final number. It didn't come out last week, but it's out. So give us the rundown of TNA's Bound for Glory, the attendance, and what WrestleTix had to say about it.
Yeah, one of the things I'm kind of stunned by is that the wrestling media and fans, at least from what I saw, like it seemed like no one cared that much. Like the story was Slammiversary, and they're like, "Oh, that's amazing! They broke the record," and then they broke it again. As far as we know, but smaller media market, it's sort of like repeating something that happened already. It's not that much bigger, even in the announced number, and no one questioned it, no one talked about it, whatever. So I think, John, it's our job to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
So we know the announced number 7794 at the, hopefully I'm pronouncing this right, Sangus Center. Um, so that looks, pretty maxed out. And from WrestleTix accounting of the numbers, they had 7018. So 7018 compared to 7794. So that's 11% increase on the official number. Now, there I think was some premium seating that might not have been included. I don't know if you're including the staff. I would imagine a production crew for the day, right? Like maybe 125 more people, like taking tickets, whatever it may be. So it's not wildly out of the question, but it is questionable how they had that many there. So that was 11%. So interesting is to compare it to Slammiversary, where the official announced number was 7623. So about 150 something ticket difference there. And WrestleTix had 7042. So basically the same number, in terms of WrestleTix in both places. Um, but interestingly, that TNA had a higher number for Bound for Glory because I would think in Long Island, WrestleTix couldn't count the box seating, which was definitely open there. So, um, maybe if they say they got it, first you have to go, okay, they got it. There's no evidence to doubt it in that way, but it is a curious sort of thing that they broke the number with a 11%. Last time it was 8.25% difference. So I'm curious, John. Like they haven't announced the Texas, or they said Dallas, but I'm assuming it's Dallas area, maybe Garland, where they've been many times, and that venue is about the same size. So will Texas be like 7853? Do they want to
Hmm.
like keep breaking this record?
Got to break it. Yeah, you have to break it.
So I was thinking about it like from like an interest in media perspective. I think the next time people would, you know what? I'm sure it'll whatever. So here's some breaking TNA news. I'll get a screenshot for X for later. It says TNA Wrestling Final Resolution tickets are sold out. So that's a
Whoa.
pretty big venue, a pretty big old venue. So I don't think that will hold up, but that would certainly be a different sort of record there. But I'm assuming that either it's a technical glitch or they have to put more tickets on sale, but obviously that's a good thing. It did take a while to get in, and based on that pacing, something might happen. But obviously, when people are listening to this, they can check back and see if that still holds up. But what I was going to say was that I think for them to get more attention for ticket sales, they have to go double digits. And I think what would be a nice number for them? To break the first all-in number.
Wow. If they could, that's crazy. Yeah.
So I don't know what would do it. Maybe they do get AJ Styles for his last match, something like that. I think even going back to Long Island, but giving people, the TNA has a fair amount of supporters. Give them time to travel, make a thing out of it, make a weekend out of it. Come up with travel plans and packages and that sort of thing, and you can go for it like that. Obviously, these big outlier numbers, which are becoming less outliers, are hard to replicate. But I would say, outside of a huge draw, what you want to do is, what we've seen works to certain degrees is sort of make a weekend out of it. And WWE has theirs, AEW has theirs now. TNA, they can certainly try something like that. So what else is going on with TNA news? Well, when TNA doesn't have to use Ticketmaster, they have a partner now. So TNA Wrestling names Tixr, is that how you pronounce it? TIXR, as official sponsor and ticket provider. TNA has confirmed a long-term partnership, a global technology leader, modernizing ticketing and live event commerce, to be an official sponsor and ticket provider for future TNA live events. Partnership kicks off in November when TNA presents 3 consecutive nights of live, intense, action-packed pro wrestling at Full Sail. With a strong presence in sports, music festival, and top-tier entertainment, Tixr has rapidly become a dominant force in live event ticketing and commerce. The company exclusively powers over 700 prominent live event brands, over 60 countries, and has processed nearly $2 billion in transactions through its modern, visually engaging platform. We're fired up to partner with TNA as Tixr continues to expand across a whole wide range of global sports and live events, said Nate Lieberman. TNA fans bring energy, and Orlando is going to be electric, and so on. So I think they're kind of competition for Eventbrite. Maybe their focus is on sports. So all well and good. So we know Orlando is coming up. Seat maps were open. It looks like Full Sail. I'm not sure if the number has ever been shared before, what it seats, but it looks like about 400. I was being a little
400.
bit lazy. Okay, great. I was being a little bit lazy in counting all the seats, but I figured I got enough to get a good idea. Well, El Paso, we'll have to come back to that one, but it's looking good off the bat. And Sportel Monaco. So this was a huge gathering of the movers and shakers in sports and media and people that want to be seen and so on. A lot of different media companies were posting about their presence there. And Carlos Silva got a nice free trip to Monaco, I'm assuming, where he spoke on a panel about all the momentum with TNA, Invicta, Fight Network, and more.
Now, here's a crazy question from me as far as TNA. How come they didn't have shows after Bound for Glory? There was a best of show aired. They weren't prepared, a day. Imagine Raw the day after Mania, the huge show where they're headed in the new direction, and there's no show. You can't capitalize over the momentum. They didn't capitalize over the almost 8,000 fans. Isn't that crazy?
That's a good question. I guess it was sort of logistical, because they would have had to have gone live unless you have it's a little bit stale when you have matches that are pre-taped that take place before major events, and then you run them and people haven't seen them. So it's probably a trade-off of okay, what are our logistics to keep people in a different town the next day? I don't think you can run the same venue. It's not so big. They've run bigger ones even the next day and so on. So maybe there was that trade-off. Although in some ways they're going big, other ways they're still, saving money. And we could see that with Full Sail. It's a good draw, and I think it's a smart move to do. But here, going lower in El Paso, it's a big venue, but it's an old venue, and I don't imagine that it's very expensive.
Just
And
to me,
other John,
that's crazy though. You
sorry,
don't follow up and have a show after.
yeah, and just thinking out loud, like their show is now NXT, right, John? Like no one like Access TV, and you can watch it on YouTube sometimes, and their Plus app or whatever. But really, their weekly show is NXT. So that's as long as they're on there, that's their main driver.
I guess it's to me. I don't know. I was taken aback by that. It's like that's crazy. Like not to have a follow up after having your biggest show ever. Like wow. Like what are they doing over there? Crazy.
I'm impressed that you noticed. Do you like check out their weekly shows from time to time?
I just try to I just try to keep up with it and stuff. I actually do have access
Oh,
on my
nice. Okay.
Sling. So yeah, so I do try to keep up with it. But I was like, wow, that's weird. They don't have like a real like live show. Like Matt, I just was thinking, imagine WWE doing that. Like, we'll just do a clip show after Mania. Like really?
So it was interesting when Access had New Japan like before AEW and all of that, and it was like the cool like secondary like alternative product. My parents had it in Yonkers, and I'm in the Bronx, and it was like 3 miles away. So I would be like, "Oh, mom, dad, I'm coming up. Let's
Hmm.
watch New Japan."
Yeah. Let's watch some New Japan Pro Wrestling there.
Yeah, like there was like 4 or 5 specials or whatever that it was good to get access, but my system has never had it.
So when you're looking at the landscape of wrestling right now, GCW maybe picking up some momentum. What's going on? What's the latest in GCW now with the collective and WrestleCon?
Yeah, so the interesting thing was with Vegas being 2 years in a row, the collective I would say it was obviously you can't anticipate Sabu's health afterwards, and it had nothing to do with his match, but you had that draw, and then the collective seemed to do really well, in this big, semi big theater there. But then they were going back, and then WrestleCon, it seemed like they were planning for what was it, New Orleans, and then
Yep.
had to work around that. But as the semi-alternative products for WrestleMania weekend, because GCW does work with WWID, but for the most part, alternative. Like we went through it show by show by show, right? Vegas last year, and most of them it seemed
Yes.
like people were losing their backside. But GCW and WrestleCon continue on, and it makes the most, like they started working together a little bit last year, but it makes the most sense to sort of get it together for people that want to participate, in the convention and go from show to show and then go back to their hotel room and go again or whatever. So collective, years in the making, first time collective and WrestleCon will join forces under the same roof to provide a WrestleMania week or a Mania week fan experience that is second to none. It all goes down April 16th to 19th at the Horseshoe. So a little bit confusing because I was trying to figure out like what's the venue size, and I'd assume it's will be in the Jubilee Theater. Some information online had like 4,000 seats, but that was old. So the part that I could confirm most from searches is Jubilee Theater hosts about 1,000 people, which includes orchestra, loge, and balcony seating. The type of venue that would work well for wrestling. I think 1,000 is perfect for the collective. Some shows will sell it out, some will draw closer to that. But even if it's a smaller number, you have the venue secured, and that would work out well. That would make sense. So that's the collective. So GCW continues along, keeps promoting this map where they've been and where they haven't been. Shockingly, they've never been to Massachusetts yet. So you think that would be an easy one to check
That's
off.
slam dunk. Yeah.
Massachusetts, Delaware, New Hampshire, Virginia, West Virginia. That'll be fun when they go somewhere like West Virginia. You have like the local wrestlers there that they'll incorporate into things and like give a different flavor for things. Of course, before we move further with GCW, I want to send well wishes to Nick Gage, who Brett Lauderdale had shared, that he's managing, issues once again, and he's in a rehab center, from what I understand. And there've been concerns in the past, like we gave him a deposit, like promoters that we gave him a deposit, we get back. So I was trying to get ahead of that and saying that will be made whole. I found it was 3 weeks ago. I think it was like BCW in France. I think he didn't show up at all. I have no idea if that was related to it or not, but seemed like something was simmering for a little bit while, at least being very far removed from knowing. So just a brief look into how ticket sales are going. As we've talked about a number of times, one of the strongest shows right now is the one that's right in front of us, actually, tonight. So the last time I checked, Shotzi Blackheart's House of Horrors in Rochester was nearly sold out of its 6th row and just had GA available. So that'll be sold out or close to it if it's not. Then a little bit of a break, I believe, till the Webster in Hartford, Connecticut on November 7th. Hard to tell with their ticket map how things are going. But I think they do have reserve seats and just lists GA and VIP booths. So I'm assuming that the other reserved have sold out. So that's looking good. Going to Maine in November, 2nd row is still available. Then you have Vermont. 2nd row is still available. The Mall Show on November 22nd at American Dreams has the 3rd row available at the moment. Then tickets are not yet on sale for Seattle, usually collaborating with Defy, December 5th. Back to LA, one of their strongest markets, December 6th. Then the Nick Gage Invitational, obviously a couple months away. So hopefully, if it's appropriate, Nick would be there. But 2nd row available there in Orlando. Then into the new year, Dallas on January 17th, Wichita, Kansas on January 18th, March 7th in Columbus, and then March 8th in Chicago.
Now, with going back to Nick Gage just for a second there, was he scheduled for GCW shows or no? Because I didn't see him on any of the schedules for GCW coming up.
No, I assume, that the Invitational, he would be expected there sort of as a, as the emissary or whatever it may be. But I don't think he's had a match there in quite a while. It's like, it's kind of portrayed that sort of like what's in his best interest, health-wise and so on. But they hadn't been booking him for shows. But wherever it was that he was scheduled is now off the books for the time being.
Gotcha. All right. I just was kind of curious because I didn't see his name out there. Outside of the Invitational, I didn't see his name out there, so I was kind of wondering. But well wishes to him and hope all goes well. And, obviously in his rehabilitation. So hopefully all goes well for Nick.
Yeah, and again, just coming back to it thematically, again, in 2 very different ways, right? So haven't seen Masha. I don't think she's been back in wrestling since the story broke. And Allie Katch is now booking herself or being booked all over, but haven't seen her yet in GCW. So there's obviously that follow-up story to have with Effie. So we'll see if if that comes back into play.
Gotcha. Now, as far as the wrestling world in Japan, maybe a little Curacao, if you will, there, maybe some Bushi Road, maybe some New Japan, just break it down, the Japanese wrestling scene right now, which, by the way, is hitting home for me. So please tell us.
Yes, so Trenton, New Jersey, Friday, February 27th. So at the Cure Insurance Arena, where I saw the Abu Dhabi Combat Club, uniquely, almost 20 years ago. I still have the T-shirt. It's fraying now, but it's one of my favorites. Looks like about a third of a house setup that they're working towards 4 months out. So we'll see. As we've talked about, they haven't been necessarily hitting it out of the park for the U.S. anytime recently. But of course, Tanahashi retirement match in Chicago did quite well. But there was all these reports of sort of pulling out of the market or less so. Certainly less so is the case as far as we see, but not completely. So this might help to point their fortunes one way or another if they continue to invest here. But obviously, we knew that Bushiroad New Japan was working with CMLL, and now Stardom is working with CMLL. Stardom has announced a business partnership with Mexico's prestigious CMLL. President Okada made the announcement directly to local fans during an appearance on CMLL's information program, CML Informa. This partnership was made possible through the efforts of Ladies Rings Hironosuke Izumi, who has long served as a bridge between CMLL and the Japanese women's professional wrestling world. In addition, Stardom's sister organization New Japan also has a partnership with CMLL, and Stardom's entry into the organization will only further expand their ties. So makes a lot of sense. I didn't even realize it wasn't happening yet because of the Bushiroad umbrella. Now, this was an interesting thing. First of all, an unfortunate thing for Stardom. We regret to inform you that the pay-per-view broadcast of Starlight Kid's 10th anniversary event, originally scheduled for today, has been canceled due to a global network outage. Maybe that was the cloud. Maybe they use Amazon Cloud. Customers who purchased the pay-per-view will receive a full refund. However, in response to the situation, we're excited to announce that the event will be streamed for free on YouTube. So that was interesting. But then what I didn't realize is I feel like this was more of a Twitch thing. Like if people were watching your stream, like they would give you like coins and points and whatever. Maybe we should start doing that, John.
Yeah,
Start making a donation. But it looked like a ton of people were donating to the Stardom stream when it was shown.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah, even like a guy gave $100. So I don't know, like I didn't add it all up and then translate it or whatever to see if it was like a big score, but I was it wasn't something that I was as aware of. And it's that element to turn into a positive. Obviously, they would have liked to have distributed it the regular way. So what else? So All Japan's, like once in a while I'll go search for like financials, what's going on. So All Japan has public financials in Japan. So these were announced July 14th, which covers a date that ended late March. From what I said, like millions of yen is like hundreds of thousands of American dollars. So their net profit, they lost 43 million yen. Their retained earnings are a loss of 65 million yen. Their net worth is minus 18 million yen. And their total assets is 35 million yen. So their total assets is a few $100,000. So I asked Grok, what can you do for me to explain these things? So here we go. So total assets down 12%. Overall asset base shrinking. Net assets shift to a negative. It was previously positive. Indicates net worth is underwater. Retained earnings, deficit expansion, accumulated losses growing, net profit loss, deficit expansion, annual loss widening. Based on the disclosed figures, the company's financial health appears poor and deteriorating, with several concerning indicators. Solvency risk, negative net assets, meaning the company's liabilities exceeds its assets by 18 million yen. This is a classic sign of potential insolvency, as the equity cushion has eroded completely. Similarly, deeply negative retained earnings reflect cumulative losses that have built up over time, likely from ongoing operational deficits. Profitability. The net loss for the year shows the company is not generating profits and is, in fact, bleeding cash at an accelerating rate. Without revenue, asset erosion, a 12.23% drop in total assets, suggesting the company may be liquidating resources or facing write-downs. No positive offsets. There are no cash flow data or ratios to provide reassurance. No dividends, investments, or growth metrics are mentioned, implying limited liquidity or recovery potential. Red flags. Insolvency threshold. Negative equity could trigger creditor actions, regulatory scrutiny, or bankruptcy proceedings under Japanese corporate law. Trend of decline. Both the annual loss and the asset base are worsening, signaling unsustainable operations without external funding. limited transparency. The sparse disclosure is typical for small Japanese firms, but makes it harder to assess hidden risks. The company is still operational and compliant enough to file announcements. As a niche entertainment firm, it might benefit from industry recovery, but nothing in the data supports this. These financials paint a picture of a struggling entity on the brink. Healthy? Far from it. Its operations at a loss with negative equity, which could lead to dissolution if trends continue. If this is investment related, I'd recommend checking for parent company information. So All Japan, I don't have a deeper knowledge than this, but just like what's on its face, what's out there, and then Brock is trying to figure things out. It doesn't sound good. So my next thought is like, do they need to sell and who? And like, the Japanese market is so different that it's hard to speculate in the same way. But Bushiroad isn't doing amazing with their wrestling entity. So I don't know about that. Cyber Agent, Cyber Fight isn't doing amazing with their wrestling, but they've acquired a lot. So you have that brand. And years ago, we heard WWE wanted to get into the market. I think they were talking with All Japan. So I don't know if the TKO strategy right now is to do something like this. Maybe, although Dana White is kind of like in his own separate world, maybe like, don't do this. Like, remember when I bought Pride? So I don't know. Would there be a day when All Japan just goes away? I guess we'll have to see the continued financial outlook as that share.
Interesting stuff from the Far East out there as far as what's going on. But I'm kind of interested in that show in February. That will be not too far from me in Trenton. Obviously, we talked about I went to the Cody Rhodes house show there that sold out a couple years ago. Basically, when they started not doing house shows anymore, but they sold out there. So I'm kind of interested in that show. I wonder who will be on it. Takeshita, Zack Sabre. I mean, who the heck is going to be on that show? That's the only reason maybe why I haven't bought a ticket already, because I have no idea who's going to be on the card.
Yeah, and based on rumors, right? Yeah, a lot of people don't want to travel there. So front row is still available, $561.
Oh.
Okay, and then that's like VIP, but if you're just second row, $196 a ticket. So that's not bad.
I saw like decent seats were for $33. So I was like, wow, that's like, wow, what year we're in? This is amazing. $33 for decent seats. This is great. So there's some reasonably priced tickets if you don't mind, maybe sitting on the next level up. But I thought wasn't bad at all, considering.
Yeah, and I guess like AEW, they allow some of the wrestlers to do this sort of thing, but they haven't always been the best partner, in that way.
Yes.
And I'm kind of surprised that they are still doing this, like shows without collaboration with AEW. But like I mentioned, I think this will sort of tell the tale more if they're gonna keep going for it.
Tell us all about the NWA, and I just had an interesting thing that I'll bring up at the end about the NWA. Maybe it's a little bit of a spoiler, but tell us what's going on in the world of the NWA.
So the Sam Hain show has now concluded and in center stage, and that was 541 tickets. Quietly, Wrestling Central is now on Pluto in addition to Roku. So this is really a from what I understand, like a Roku initiated type of channel, but there, that features the NWA and WOW, so getting some more distribution there. But the most interesting thing about the NWA this week, before you share, John, is an interview Billy Corgan did in the Times Union. Honestly, in all candor, I think the music fan side cared about. I wish the music fan side cared about wrestling. I understand that with the NWA, I have to asymmetrically build up. What Corgan means is that he started and cultivated Smashing Pumpkins from the ground up in order to achieve success. With NWA, however, he purchased a moribund property in 2017 and has to work and spend money to resurrect the brand. October has been a big month for Corgan in both aspects. Smashing Pumpkins recently concluded tour, and this week's Nero's efforts at the NWA were recognized by the Hall of Fame in Albany. That's why there's the article. The organization awarded the 2025 Excelsior Award, given to a person whose contributions elevated the art of wrestling. The past 12 months have been crucial in Corgan's ongoing efforts to restore the former glory. NWA announced a return to territorial-based system. Corgan and NWA landed a major achievement when it secured a deal with Roku to stream NWA Power. Let's see. In 2011, he founded. Okay, let me skip ahead. It's good news because we're a part of the new digital ecosystem. The Roku deal pairs well with Corgan and NWA's national and regional approach. He sees it as a partnership model, as it gives his promotion a leg up on recruiting new talent on the scene and gives an indie company like NWA a chance to be seen by larger audiences. Also, like a partnership model, from what I understand of people that deal with these streaming platforms, it's usually some sort of like revenue split of ads, which don't pay tremendously well. So there's not like a set fee generally for these type of brands on platforms. And even talking to someone that deals with a big brand in a different industry. We want to create an ecosystem where an indie promotion can tell young talent that they're working with a company that has a pipeline for TV. One of my favorite things as a promoter is finding talent in the rough. If you want to find the next star, you need to discover them 2 to 3 years before they're ready. He's aware that even though NWA may find and develop a star, it's hard to compete with WWE and AEW can offer. As an entertainer, Corgan understands the need for talent to take advantage of opportunities as they arise. I look at it as if you build talent up and they leave our system, it's a credit to us and the company. Okay, and with that being said, is there any chance? Okay, that's about music. Okay, so and rest about music. So that's Corgan's interesting interview.
So just wanted to throw this out there. Since August, and it hasn't been announced yet, they haven't put it out there, but at the 77th anniversary show, Thrillbilly Silas Mason defeated Tom Latimer for the NWA World title. I don't know when they're going to announce that. It's kind of weird. He's been champion for 65 days, but they haven't said anything. I just was I wasn't sure what was going on with that. But really, there's a new NWA World champion, Silas Mason, who's a big
yes,
boy.
It has been very quiet. The first time I heard about it, like just in the abstract, was on the Between the Sheets podcast, and they were talking about it, and they were basically like Chris Sellner. I was like, I don't care about the modern NWA or whatever. It's just big up to the new champion. I was like, there's a new champion, so I go to Wikipedia and see that. So I guess there's sort of like keeping it kayfabe, until
I
it
guess they
airs.
put it on TV, yeah, which is crazy. 65 days later, still hasn't aired, like crazy.
Yeah, and I don't like. Obviously, it's important for them to develop new stars and whatever it is. Besides his name, I don't even know who that is.
I know him because he was trained by Dr. Tom Pritchard. His long list of great guys that he trained, including The Rock and Kurt Angle. I just know him. He's a big boy. He's like 6'5". He's just like he's a prospect for sure. I feel like he's somebody that WWE should have their eye on. They probably do because Dr. Tom trained him. So that's definitely a guy to watch out for.
Maybe when we look back at it, it'll be like, okay, it like sort of like looks more important in retrospect that he was NWA champion. But like, I'm more of you do have to change the title sometimes, but I'm like more of a supporter of like, if you don't have a lot of momentum, find like that one credible champion and like keep the belt on them and like keep going with that. Like I think people like ignore Dan Severn's years and years with the belt when like the NWA like had nothing going on and like how much credibility he brought to it. And Jeff Jarrett, I was still mad he was stripped of the title without being able to lose it, at least in TNA's original show where the belt was put on the line right in a battle royal.
Right. So as far as MLW is concerned, what's the latest with Major League Wrestling?
So I think like, it's sponsored, celebrities, whatever, they're doing the best they can to like put the spotlight on this MLW Don Gato Tequila Lucha de las Muertes show, November 20th at the Charleston Music Hall, Charleston, South Carolina. 448 tickets, 57 plus growth since 7 days ago when WrestleTix last captured it. 448, 607 setup, potential of 959 seats on the map. So the Good Brothers are going, Arn Anderson is going, Killer Cross and Scarlett, Mystico, who's a regular already, Shotzi Blackheart, So they're all in on this show. Um, Curious to see like the success of it and how it moves along. And as we're getting closer, Dallas is looking good, moving along. I'm not sure how many of those seats were actually put on sale yet, but from what's on sale, not a lot are on the map. And of course, the long bumped Chicago show is looking pretty good as well.
Do you like the fact that they keep bringing in the old WWE guard, if you will, like the old WWE guys, like obviously the good brothers, Dijak, Bishop Dyer? Do you like that, or no? Do you think that's a good strategy?
I mean, I don't know if they have a lot of different ways to get attention, and obviously, bringing in HBO celebrities and so on is one way, and it is helping to carve things out. I think like they don't do it in a way that it feels like the old TNA, where it's just like, okay, here's all these like former WWE stars. Like it does feel like a little bit different. Certainly, I mean, he won't be wrestling, but certainly Arn Anderson we haven't seen um, anywhere outside since he's been at AEW. Maybe he was on some local shows with his son or whatever it may be. But they have access to CMLL. Shotzi has that whole independent vibe, even though she was in WWE. So it doesn't feel like only former WWE to me.
Lavie, got to bring this up to you because I saw it. Great movie. The Smashing Machine. There you go. I went there. I saw it. Obviously, it didn't do as well in the box office as maybe some people were kind of expecting it to do. But I feel like he kind of knew that. He took a pay cut. He kind of wanted to do it for the art. And I got to be honest, I'm a huge Mark Kermark anyway, but great movie. Great acting by him. Cool story. You actually end up really kind of rooting for Mark Coleman, who is like one of my favorite of all time, but the Hammer, who was played by Ryan Bader, who was great. Boss Rutan is great in it. Emily Blunt is great in it. Just great acting. And I got to be honest, The Rock, he should be, I don't want to say should win the Oscar, throw that out there, but he should be nominated for an Oscar for his performance in this. So I think The Smashing Machine is must see. Have you seen it? Did you see it? Will you see it?
I didn't see it, and I love like from the picture that you're sharing, like the IBC, mirrored walls and so on. I love that like look, so that's like very legitimate.
Yeah.
So there was speculation that it will be out of the theaters or at least like available for streaming by November 4th. So that kind of like pushed me to be like, okay, like it's taking me a while. Maybe we should just wait for that because I do want to see in the theaters Deliver Me from Nowhere, the Bruce Springsteen biopic,
Right.
which hasn't been getting the greatest reviews, but from the clips that I saw, it looks pretty good to me.
Interesting. I'm a hit or miss on Bruce. I don't know. I'm up and down on Bruce. I'm more of like a Phil Collins guy. You know what I mean? Like that's or maybe Bruce Hornsby the Range, like those guys. But I like Bruce. It's just up and down on some of his music.
Okay, so the question is like, if somebody is like a Springsteen fan or not. Have you ever seen him live?
Twice, yes.
Oh, okay. And you're still
So,
up in the air. That's unique.
so here's the crazy thing about that too, because my brother and my buddy were all saying how great he is live, whatever. I went to one show, it was awesome, and I thought he was great. The next show I didn't think was that great. So it's like me being up and down. His set playlist, the second time I saw him, playing random stuff that I didn't know, picking obviously what she does, pick stuff out of the crowd that obviously a huge Springsteen mark told him to play that I didn't even know what the song was. So that kind of stuff, when I'm like, when I know the guy, I'm like a casual fan. When you start doing stuff I don't know, that's like kind of, you lose me basically as like a concert goer.
Now, like, of course, I would go to see him if the pricing and opportunity was right, but I'm less interested now because like love Bruce Springsteen, but love even more the E Street Band. Like, and they're dying, right?
Yeah. Yep.
At least two of them have died. I don't want to speculate and say three, but I definitely at least two have died. So like, it's not it's not the same. Like, because I've seen him in his return, right? So I just randomly was invited in 1999, the return, like at Continental Airlines Arena when he played like whatever it was, 15, 20 shows there, and that was only familiar with like Born in the USA, whatever,
Yep.
it didn't. And then I was like, that's amazing. And then in 2000, junior in college, I had a pretty good paying job for like a kid. It was like a promotions company where I was like in Manhattan every day, and we like it was promoting like free internet, right? Like so it's really like like we give out discs for free internet, $15 an hour. So I had more money than I knew what to do with. So I got online every night for the release tickets. And
Oh,
one
nice.
night, I got every time. You just have to wait, an hour or two. Um, and one night I got the second row, which was amazing.
Wow,
And
nice.
the one of the funny stories is that remember when you played Broadway?
Yeah.
Like you
Oh,
did like
yeah.
one night. So I bought it the first time, and it was like I was like Springsteen, whatever. It was like $400 ticket, and then I got a new boss at work who asked me to teach a college class for the first time. And I was already missing a couple of sessions because of Jewish holidays, and the class overlapped with the concert or with the show. So I gave the ticket to my sister-in-law, and then I
Oh,
was like, okay, I lost the opportunity forever. And then he came back a couple of years ago to Broadway, and then I finally saw that too.
nice. Yeah, see, my buddy who went to that same show as me, where he started playing, like he loved it because he knew all the songs, and I was like, see, as a casual fan, I don't like that because I don't know some of these songs. Just he went to like, what do you call it, like deep cuts, if you will, like
Yeah.
super deep. So, which I know he does for the hardcores that go to all the shows because they want to see something different, not the same show every night.
But I feel like he kind of knows for the most part. Like there's a solid like 9 or 10 that like he'll open it up strong, finish it pretty strong, and then like in the middle like you have to like pace it down, whatever. Like so, I mean I just know all the songs, but like
Yep.
I definitely have experienced other concerts where it's kind of like you're kind of waiting for like things that you want to see. I've heard like I've been to a number of their shows like Dave Matthews Band, but I had a friend that went to it in Pittsburgh once, and he's like, it was terrible. They just played the new album for the most part, and I didn't know the songs, and I was waiting to hear this and that, and then that was disappointing. It's the hard thing, like when you have such a big playlist.
That's the problem too. Like, and I feel like a lot of the fans that go to Bruce, they go to every show or go to multiple shows. Like if it's Pittsburgh, they go. If it's in Jersey, they go to. So he knows his audience. So I'm guessing he probably doesn't want to play the same stuff. So they're getting a different show because there's so many traveling fans that follow him everywhere.
Yeah, so I'm learning more things about you, John. I thought like New Jersey, New Jersey, not to stereotype, but I was like definitely Springsteen, right? But what
No,
about
no, I'm like I hit or miss. If it's the one show was like mostly the Rising album, like I was loving it because I love that. And some people don't like that, but for some reason that Wrecking Ball, like I like some of that stuff. But when he starts going like I don't like even Jersey Girl, I'm like yeah, I'm not kind of sick of that song already. You know what I mean? It's just
yeah,
he's hit or miss for me. I don't know why. I like him, but he for some reason I'm not gung ho. Like I guess I'm not gung ho Jersey. Bon Jovi too. I'm not super into Bon Jovi either.
I was literally that was what I was going to ask you because
Yeah.
that's the other.
Not a big Bon Jovi fan either. He has a bunch of good songs, but I'm just not gung ho. If it's a wrestler from New Jersey, yes, like Bam Bam Bigelow or something, or King Kong Bundy, but not Bruce and Bon Jovi.
So,
Bruce I like better than Bon Jovi though, for sure.
so I'm more that way with most of the Jewish wrestlers, but for some reason
Right.
I don't get Colt Cabana at all. I'm like he's not funny. He's an overrated worker. I loved his podcast. Like like I loved his podcast. That was like one of my favorite. Like it was just so funny when he interviewed once El Hijo del Mickey Mouse. I don't know if that's still on the
Oh my God.
internet, but I was just like cracking up for like an hour. But usually, like if I hear a wrestler is Jewish or half Jewish, Macho Man Randy Savage is like half Russian Jew. Like I want to support them. Obviously, Barry Horowitz. We know Goldberg.
Goldberg, yeah.
That girl shouldn't have broken the streak just to be contemporary, right? Goldberg getting himself in hot water again this week.
Raven. What about DDP? Isn't DDP half Jewish? So yeah, there's
Yeah,
a bunch of guys.
DDP,
Yeah.
I think he's, yeah, I'm not sure of his parents exactly. I always considered him Jewish, but yeah, he didn't appeal to me at all. Like, even when, I don't know if you remember this, John, when they had the Goodwill games in New York, there was a free WCW show, like by the pier, which it was like 120 degrees. So like it was too hot, but it was amazing at the same time. It was Goldberg. It wasn't too far outside of winning the title, so it was supposed to be Goldberg against Kurt Hennig for the U.S. title, but then it ended up being a world title match. They played like
Wow,
on
that's
the big
awesome.
screen. They played on the big screen the big win, and then Goldberg beat him. There was just like 4 other matches, which was like Jericho, the Bolanos, whatever it was. But it was, there was only a few rows. We got there early, so we were seated, but then a ton of people in back of us. But the whole thing it was that Paige was signing autographs at the end. And I was like, nah, he sucks. Like,
Oh my God, are you crazy? Oh my God, damn, love DDP.
Yeah, because like you know what? Remember like when he started out? I mean, not as a manager in WCW, but like during those like worldwide years, just like '93 to '95. I know he's had. I've enjoyed his good matches with Goldberg and Randy Savage, whatever. But he just seemed like just like an like an old guy that like had a different look. I give him props for like getting as far as he did, but he just wasn't for me.
He is he's the man to me. I love me some DDP, that's for sure. But let's wrap this bad boy up and head towards the plugs because we could talk about DDP all day here. So you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at 2Man Power Trip Heavy You Lavie.
Yeah, I could talk myself into hot water, I guess, if DDP is a listener. But follow me on X, Lavie Mark, Lavie MARG. Check out the long form articles on LionCubJobSearch.com. The LinkedIn group, The Business of the Business, and Trump Mania, still relevant today. Donald Trump, Vince McMahon, and WWE. So we have the book, the ebook, the audiobook, which is AI generated through Audible, but I think it's pretty good. Except, like, I can't change it, so they're like Gene Ackerland.
Oh my God. It always does that when you're like trying to record something. Like it'll change kind of exactly what you're trying to say. It's weird.
Actually, while I'm thinking about it, maybe I should upload a version like for a different, for a different book, like where I phonetically spell it, so that like
Oh yeah, put oak and then and then land. Yeah. Yep.
yeah, so then they can't mess it up.
Yep. All right. Thank you everybody out there for listening. See you right back here next week for a little business of the business. We'll see you next week, folks.